wagon left before Anna could gather her voice to beg them not to go. She stood in the middle of a barren stretch of Wyoming land, wind biting her cheeks, a single trunk beside her. The sound of wheels and hooves faded until there was only silence and the endless prairie. The sky felt too big, the world felt too empty, and everything that used to be her life was gone in a cloud of dust behind her. Ahead stood a cabin that looked like it had been fighting storms for a lifetime. Weathered boards, a sagging porch, no smoke curling from the chimney. It looked as lonely as she felt. Her late husband's older brother, Luke, had thrown one last cruel sentence at her before the wagon rolled away. "You brought shame to the Miller name. Let the cowboy keep you. Out here, you'll learn your place." Anna had begged for understanding after her husband Daniel died from fever last year. Instead of comfort, she received accusations. They called her unfit. They blamed her for not giving Daniel a child. The Miller family needed an heir, and in their eyes, she had failed her only purpose. So they decided she should disappear. A barn door creaked. A tall man stepped into the afternoon light. Broad shoulders, sun-darkened skin, a scar across one cheek. His hair was slightly too long, and his shirt sleeves were rolled up over strong forearms. He looked like someone who had learned to depend only on himself. In his eyes lived a tired kind of disappointment with the world. Cole Turner. She had met him only once at a town gathering long ago. Daniel had spoken of him with respect. A skilled horse trainer, lived far outside town, rarely spoke to anyone. Some called him a hermit. Others called him broken. He looked at Anna with confusion first, then frustration. "I didn't agree to this," he said. His voice was rough, like gravel dragged across wood. "I know," Anna answered softly, refusing to let her fear show. "Neither did I." He walked closer, boots crunching on frozen earth. "Your family said you needed a place to stay. They didn't mention sending you like cargo." "They needed me gone," she said. "And you live far enough from town for them to pretend I never existed." Quote. Cole rubbed a hand over his jaw, thinking. Wind shoved through the grass, rattling the boards of his cabin. "I don't need trouble, and this looks like trouble." "I won't be a burden," Anna said, though her shivering hands betrayed her. Cole studied her, eyes narrowing slightly, like he was trying to read the truth inside her. Worn dress, thin shawl, no gloves. She wasn't built for these plains. Most wouldn't last a week alone. "You'll sleep in the barn tonight," he said at last. "I'll think on what to do with you." The words landed heavy, but she nodded. Pride held her shoulders straight. If this was what survival required, she would take it. Better than crawling back to people who wished her gone. Cole lifted her trunk with one hand and carried it to the barn. He set it down without looking at her again. "Water pumps out back. Don't wander far. Nights are cold." He closed the barn door behind him and left her inside with only hay, shadows, and a few curious horses watching her. Anna spread a blanket on the hay and sat carefully, pulling her knees close. Through a crack in the wood, she saw Cole standing on his porch staring toward the barn, as if unsure whether this moment was real. She held Daniel's ring, the only thing she had been allowed to keep, and whispered to herself not to cry, but to stay standing. "I will survive. And when I can, I'll leave this place on my own terms." The wind howled that night. Cold seeped into her bones. She barely slept, but she did not cry. Tears solved nothing. The days that followed were harsh. Cole said little. Anna worked in silence, mending tack, sweeping the barn, hauling wood. Each night she slept in the hay, refusing to ask for better. She refused to give Cole any reason to send her away. Survival was her only goal. On the fourth morning, a storm rolled in fast. Snow drove sideways across the valley. Cole told her to stay inside the barn and keep warm. She nodded, but as hours passed, the cold became unforgiving. By nightfall, the barn door had frozen shut from the outside, trapping her inside as the temperature dropped dangerously low. When Cole came to check on the horses, he found her collapsed near the door, barely conscious. Her lips were pale, hands stiff with cold. He cursed under his breath and pulled her into his arms. "Fool woman," he muttered, voice tight with fear. "You should have come to the house." He carried her inside his cabin, set her near the hearth, and wrapped blankets around her. He heated broth and held the cup to her lips until she swallowed. She resisted at first, pride still fighting, even as her body shook. Hours passed. The fire crackled. The storm beat at the walls like claws. Slowly, warmth returned to her cheeks. When her eyes focused, she found Cole kneeling beside her, watching the flames. "Why did you help me?" she whispered. Cole poked the fire with a stick. "Because winter doesn't care about stubborn pride. It kills anyone all the same." Anna looked around the cabin. One room, neat but empty. No photos, no women's items, no softness. It was a house built by a man who stopped expecting company. "I won't stay longer than needed," she said. "I'll work for food and shelter until spring. Then I'll leave. Your life won't be troubled by me." Cole stood, thinking. Finally he nodded. "You stay through spring. Help with chores. Come April, I'll give you a horse and supplies to reach a new town, somewhere far from them. A chance at freedom, a life where no one would own her." "I accept," Anna said. "Good." His answer was simple, but something softened a little in his expression, like a wall shifting a fraction of an inch. That night, Cole unrolled an extra bed near the fire for her. No barn. She hesitated, then lay down. The flames warmed her face, but her thoughts kept her awake. Two strangers in the same cabin, both carrying grief they barely survived, both unsure if this arrangement would save them or break them further. Outside, the storm swallowed the world in white. Inside, the first fragile thread of an unspoken bond began to form, thinner than a hair, but real. Neither of them dared to name it yet. The storm passed, but something had shifted between them. When morning light crept through the frost-covered window, Anna woke to the smell of coffee and the gentle crackle of the fire. Cole stood by the stove, pouring a cup. He didn't look at her as he spoke. "You should eat before the cold sets in again." Anna sat up, wrapped the blanket around her shoulders, and accepted the cup. Their fingers brushed for a second. Both pretended not to notice. The days settled into an uneasy rhythm. Anna cooked, cleaned, and mended clothes with quiet focus. Cole chopped wood, tended livestock, and repaired the roof. They spoke little, but the silence no longer felt sharp. It felt like two people learning how to breathe in the same space. 3 weeks passed before Anna discovered something that cracked open the mystery inside Cole's guarded heart. She had been searching the cupboard for a pot when her hand closed around a small wooden bird. Delicate, carved with care, wings spread as if ready to fly. She held it gently, surprised by the craftsmanship. Cole froze when he saw it in her hand. His entire body tensed, like someone bracing for a blow. "I'm sorry," Anna said softly. "I didn't mean to pry." His jaw tightened. "It belonged to my daughter." Anna's breath caught. She placed the bird back carefully, as if it were a fragile living thing. "Where is she now?" "Gone," he said quietly. "Fever took her and her mother 4 winters ago. I was gone on a cattle run. Came home to a silent house." The pain in his voice was not loud, but it was unmistakable. It lived deep, like a scar that never healed. Anna swallowed, her own voice unsteady. "My husband died of fever too. His family said I failed him by not giving him a child. They turned their grief into blame." She paused, fingers shaking slightly. "They sent me here to rid themselves of a burden, but I don't think they ever saw me at all." Cole poured 2 cups of coffee. He handed her one, not looking directly at her, but this time his voice was softer. "You didn't deserve that." The simple kindness nearly broke her. They sat at the table, both quiet, both holding memories that hurt to touch. But something changed in that silence. They saw each other clearly now. 2 souls bruised by life, not weak, but wounded. From that day on, the cabin felt different. Less like a place to endure, and more like a place to heal. As snow melted and spring pushed through the ground, life returned to the valley. Anna planted a small garden near the porch. She knelt in the soil, feeling the earth warm beneath her hands. She realized with a start that she wasn't just surviving anymore, she was building something. Cole noticed too. "You're doing more than what was agreed," he said one evening as she organized the kitchen shelves. "It helps us both," she replied, not meeting his eyes. "Us." The word hung between them, dangerous and comforting all at once. Small moments began to stack like stones forming a path. Cole fixed a loose hinge in her room without being asked. Anna left breakfast on the table when he returned late from the fields. He brought her wildflowers one morning, awkwardly placing them in a jar. "The cabin needed some color," he muttered. Anna smiled, and the way Cole looked away quickly told her he felt something he wasn't ready to face. But peace never lasted long for people who had once known suffering. One afternoon, as Anna hung fresh laundry on the line, hoofbeats approached. A neighbor, Mr. Harris, arrived with a sack of flour and a warning in his eyes. He greeted Cole politely, but spared Anna only a stiff nod. "Word in town is that the Miller family is angry you didn't send her back," Harris said. "They're telling folks she's living as your woman." "Some are starting to talk." Anna felt her stomach twist. She knew how fast gossip turned to cruelty. Cole's voice remained calm, but steel threaded through it. "People's opinions don't change how we live here." Harris hesitated, then added, "Daniel's brother was in town yesterday. He said he aims to come back for her, and he won't come alone." Anna felt the blood drain from her face. Cole dismissed the man with thanks, but after Harris left, the air turned cold again. That night, Anna stood by the window, arms wrapped around herself. "I should leave before trouble comes. I don't want to ruin your life here." Quote. Cole stepped beside her, close enough that she could feel his warmth. "I stopped letting other people decide my life a long time ago." His voice was steady, but when Anna turned to him she saw something vulnerable in his eyes. Something afraid of losing again. "What do you want, Anna?" She opened her mouth, but no answer came. She didn't know. The truth was too big to say. She wanted safety and freedom, but also the strange comfort she found in this cabin. The quiet understanding in Cole's presence. She feared naming it, because naming it made it real. That night, a storm rolled in. Thunder cracked like gunfire. Lightning lit up the cabin. Anna's heartbeat grew wild, not from the storm, but from what it dragged from her past. She curled on her bed, trembling. The night her husband died, the sky had sounded the same. Thunder had covered her cries for help, as fever stole him from her arms. Cole heard her shaky breaths in the dark. After a long moment of hesitation, he sat on the edge of her bed, his hand hovering before he rested it on her shoulder. "You're safe here," he said. Anna turned toward him, eyes full of grief she'd buried so long. "He died calling my name, and I could do nothing. I failed him." Cole shook his head, his voice low. "Losing someone isn't failure. Grief makes us believe lies." Anna's tears finally came. She hadn't cried since the day the Miller family sent her away. Cole stayed beside her, silent and steady. They spoke of ghosts that night, his and hers, pain that never fully left. Fear of caring for someone again, because loss had taught them that love could destroy. When dawn came, they sat by the dying fire, shoulders touching. Not romantic, not yet, but something deeper. A recognition, the kind that said, "I see your broken parts, and I don't turn away." As the sun rose, warming the valley with soft gold, their hands rested close on the hearth, almost touching, almost choosing. Anna looked at Cole. Cole looked back, and both knew something had changed forever. Anna saw the dust before she heard the sound. 3 riders coming fast through the valley. Her hands went still over the washboard. The shape of the man in front was burned into her memory. Daniel's brother, Luke Miller. She could see the same hard posture, the same self-righteous glare. The sight of him froze the air around her. Cole stepped out of the barn, wiping his hands on a rag, eyes narrowing. "You know them?" Quote, "My husband's family," Anna whispered. "They've come to take me back." The riders halted a few yards away. Luke dismounted, boots striking the dirt with purpose. 2 other men, ranch hands or hired muscle, flanked him, watching Cole like wolves circling a bear. "You've gone far enough," Luke said loudly. "You've shamed our name long enough, Anna. You'll come with me now." Cole took one step forward. "She isn't going anywhere." Luke's expression twisted. "She's a widow, my brother's widow. You think you can keep her out here like some prize you won? She belongs with family." "She belongs to herself," Cole said, voice quiet but firm. Luke's face darkened. "You think she's pure after living under your roof all winter? Everyone in town knows what you've done. You disgraced her and my brother's memory." Anna's fists clenched at her sides. "Stop pretending you care about Daniel's memory," she said, her voice trembling but strong. "You only care about control. You sent me here to disappear. You wanted me punished for not giving you an heir to raise in your name." "Watch your mouth," Luke snapped, stepping closer. "You speak like a woman who forgot her place." Cole moved between them, calm but solid. "That's enough. You step on this land again, and you'll regret it." Luke's eyes burned with hatred. "You'll regret defying me, Cowboy. This land, this woman, none of it's yours to keep." He turned sharply, mounted his horse, and galloped away with his men. The echo of hooves lingered like thunder long after they were gone. Anna stood shaking, every muscle tight with anger and fear. "He'll come back." "I know," Cole said quietly, "and when he does, we'll face him together." That night, Anna couldn't sleep. She sat by the window, staring at the moonlight on the snow. "You'd be safer if I left," she said finally. "They'll turn the town against you." Cole didn't answer right away. He was fixing a broken chair leg, his hands steady even as his jaw tightened. "I lived through losing everything once. I'm not living through running away again." Anna looked at him, realizing what he meant. He had made his choice. So had she. The next morning, she unpacked the bag she had quietly prepared to run. The decision felt like breathing for the first time in months. 3 days later, the threats began. A stone through the window with a note tied around it. "Sinners burn. Whispers in town." Doors that used to open now closed when Cole passed by. The blacksmith refused his coin. The store clerk turned him away. The preacher's wife crossed the street when she saw Anna. Each act of cruelty was meant to break them. Instead, it steeled them. One evening, Anna found Cole outside repairing the fence again, the same steady rhythm of hammer and nail. She walked to him and took the hammer from his hand. "I'm done hiding," she said. "If they want a spectacle, we'll give them one. We go to town together, Sunday service. Let them see us as we are." Cole hesitated. "They'll talk." "They already do," Anna replied. "At least now we speak for ourselves." Sunday arrived bright and cold. The little white church at the edge of town was already half full when they entered. Conversation stopped. Heads turned. Anna's heart hammered, but she didn't look down. She held Cole's hand and walked beside him, every step a declaration. They sat in the back pew as whispers slithered through the congregation. Luke stood before the sermon began, voice full of false righteousness. "This woman dishonors my late brother and our family name. She lives in sin with this man. The Lord's house should not shelter such shame." Cole rose slowly. "The only shame here is a family that cast out a grieving widow like garbage." The room went silent. "She came here broken," Cole continued. "Your punishment was supposed to destroy her. Instead, she rebuilt her life. We built it together. If that's sin, then I'll answer for it." Anna stood beside him. Her hands trembled, but her voice was clear. "I loved my husband. His death broke me, but your hatred buried me alive. Cole didn't rescue me. He reminded me I was still worth saving." An old minister stood, eyes soft but strong. "The Lord forgave the woman at the well. He told those without sin to cast the first stone." No one moved. Luke's fury finally boiled over. He lunged at Cole. They crashed into a pew, fists flying. The sheriff, who had been standing by the door, rushed forward and pulled them apart. "That's enough! This is God's house, not a brawl!" "Luke Miller, you leave this town before you answer to me for assault." Luke spat at the ground, eyes burning with hatred. "This isn't over." He stormed out. The doors slammed behind him. Silence filled the church again. Then, slowly, a few people began to nod. The blacksmith stayed seated. The widow in the corner wept quietly. The minister bowed his head in prayer. Outside, sunlight spilled over the steps as Cole and Anna walked hand in hand toward their horses. The town still watched, but not all eyes were cruel now. Weeks passed. The worst of the hostility faded. Some neighbors began greeting Cole again. Others offered quiet support. The land thawed into green, and the garden behind the cabin bloomed with new life. One evening, Anna stood at the doorway, the scent of earth and lilacs in the air. Cole was mending the fence again. She walked to him, her face glowing with both fear and joy. She took his hand and placed it gently on her belly. He froze, eyes wide. "Anna!" She smiled, tears filling her eyes. "We're going to have a child." Cole's breath hitched. He cupped her face, trembling. "I thought my heart was done feeling this much." "So did I," she whispered. "But maybe love doesn't disappear. Maybe it waits until we're strong enough to find it again." He kissed her forehead softly. "You were supposed to be punishment, but you became my treasure." The valley glowed golden in the setting sun. The cabin, once a prison, now stood as a home. The little wooden bird sat on the shelf between a vase of wildflowers and a new carving. A tiny horse, half finished, waiting for small hands to hold it someday. Anna leaned into Cole, feeling the steady beat of his heart. "We saved each other," she said. "No," he murmured. "You saved me." The wind rustled through the tall grass, carrying away the ghosts of the past. And for the first time, both of them believed that the future could truly belong to them. The prairie stretched wide and bright before them, full of promise, forgiveness, and a love strong enough to survive any storm.